All right, so Aaron Dimick, Aarondick, and my title is Public Information Officer for the City of Jackson. And I work in the City Manager's Office. And how local government is structured here in the City of Jackson is we have a mayor and a council, and they're elected by the voters in the City of Jackson, and then they hire a city manager. And the city manager is tasked with running the city government and overseeing all the city services. So the mayor and council make decisions at council meetings about what the city's going to be doing, what initiatives and projects and programs we're going to be doing, but they don't make the day-to-day decisions about what goes on at the city. That's what the city manager does and the different department heads. So I work under the city manager. I very rarely work with the council members or the mayor. Maybe like if they have an event that they're putting on, I'll help them with that, or there's a photo op or something, I'll assist. But really I just work with the city manager and work on the city's communication priorities. So there's a lot of things that I do as the public information officer. I'm the city spokesperson, so if someone from the media has questions about something that's happening at the city, then they come to me and I talk to them on the phone or over email or over text, and I give them information about what's going on, or we'll do an interview or an on-camera interview if it's a TV station. So I'm the city spokesperson, and I work with the city manager to identify media opportunities or the news that needs to go out. I will do news releases, or a press release. I call them news releases, and because I just think that sounds better. Not everyone does the press anymore. Everyone does news. So I write the news releases, and they go out to my media list of outlets in the Jackson-Lansing area. So it's kind of up to them to decide if they want to put it on some of their platforms or not. Sometimes I send out a news release, and the majority of the time it gets picked up, like a TV station or the newspaper picks it up, but sometimes they don't pay attention, but that doesn't stop me. And then in addition to that, I manage the city website, so I make sure that is accurate and fresh with the information that people need to know about the city. I do the city newsletter, which goes out 4 times a year, so it goes out quarterly, and 6-page newsletter. It goes to every address in the city of Jackson. You can take that if you want.
Oh, thank you.
Goes out to every address in the city, and it just is us informing residents on what we think they need to know about the latest with the city. So a lot of it is like city news, but sometimes we like find different partnerships in the community. Like, that was like with the police department and Jackson Public Schools, what's on the cover there. I do the city's social media accounts. We have Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. I operate our mass communication system. So there's a system called Code Red that residents sign up for. And if there's a street closure, then they know about it. If there's some kind of emergency, or a lot of it is used for city services, so things like leaf pickup and hydrant flushing, or neighborhood meetings. A lot of city service type things go through Code Red. So we send out voice, email, and text messages.
Okay.
And what else do I do? And always stop me if I'm just going on and on.
No,
I can
please.
talk for a while. What else do I do? I do internal communications. So when there's something that management or human resources or another department wants that information to go out to the employees of the city, because we have around 250 full-time employees at the city. So it's up to me to like send out a group email or a group text message, just to make sure everyone's informed about what's going on.
It sounds like a hellish text message. 250 plus text chain. Ooh.
Well, we do not allow replies.
So, what kind of problems and decisions would you say that you deal with commonly?
Problems. What kind of problems? Well, I guess problems would be more like emergencies and the information that needs to go out. So something like if there's a boil water advisory or a street closure or some kind of emergent situation that pops up, then it's up to me to kind of drop whatever I'm doing and make sure that information gets out as quickly as possible. So it is a lot to do sometimes, and sometimes it's a lot of pressure to do everything so quickly, but I just have enough experience, and I kind of know the different things I need to do to execute them efficiently. What was the other part of your question?
The other question was about the kinds of decisions that you have to commonly make.
I have to use a lot of judgment about what is important for people to know in the community, whether that's residents or media. So identifying what is important for people to know about, what is important, what isn't important, and then the details in that. So just the information that people need to know in there. So I just have to use a lot of my own judgment on when there is something that needs to go out, the important details, what platform is the best for it, because like not everything that happens in the city is going to be sent out through a news release, or not everything is going to be a Facebook post. So it's really up to me to decide how to deliver the message, what the message is going to be. So that's a lot of the decision making that goes into it.
Choosing the best outlet and the best priority.
Yes, exactly.
Wonderful. So how exactly did you end up in this position?
So I've been in the communications field for 15 years professionally, and for 8 years I was in the TV news business. Before that, I got my undergrad at Wayne State University in film production and media arts. So that was just kind of a broad-based communications, film, and TV. And then I had an internship at WDIV in Detroit, and then I got hired there in 2010, and that's when I got into the TV news business. So I was a news producer for about a year, and then I was an on-air reporter. So I was just like a news reporter who would, you just see out there on the street doing stories. I would anchor in the studio every now and then, but I was mostly just a reporter. The job title is called multimedia journalist, and that is essentially you go out with a camera and you do all the shooting, editing, and producing yourself, and being on camera as well. So you get pretty well versed in creating content and things like that. So I was looking to do something different. Some of my opportunities were kind of running out in the news business, and then this job opened up, and I thought it'd be a good opportunity because I wanted to stay in Jackson. I was already living in Jackson at the time. So this came up, and I thought it'd be a good transition. So I've been doing this for 7 years.
Since 2018, if I recall?
Yep, 2018.
Did do a Google search.
Good to do some background.
Always. So, in your day-to-day, what part of this job do you find the most challenging?
What is challenging? Thankfully, I've been doing this long enough that I know how to prioritize my time and budget my time, because otherwise I'd be doing things very slapdash and last minute. So of the things that I can control, I have like keep a very tight schedule as to what needs to go out when, and just keep a calendar about like, okay, hydrant flushing is starting on this date, so I need to get my stuff out, like a week before. So it's all very calendar based. I always try to give myself a lot of time so I have enough time to do everything. But some of the challenge is I'm kind of like a one-person department. So when there is a big task that comes up, I don't have anyone to really help me. So it's kind of all on me to get the tasks done, and then that can be especially stressful when there is an emergency, like a boil water advisory, for example. Then like I got to drop everything I'm doing and respond to that and get things out in a timely manner. The other thing too is when the pandemic started in 2020, I was drafted into some of the emergency service to get information out to the community. So when there is different weather emergencies or disasters happening, or like a pandemic, I'm kind of like drafted into service to help with the communications of that. So that can be challenging. When the pandemic started, that like took up nearly my entire time in this job for about 5 months. That's all I was doing, was like helping with the pandemic response. So it's challenging that I'm a one-person department and there's not really anyone to help me, but I kind of overcome that just by a lot of planning and just knowing how to best budget my time and just keeping realistic expectations. One thing that can be difficult is having to work with the media, just because they're always wanting to get assistance as soon as possible with what they need. So then I have to like shift priorities. There could be an incident that happens or a news release that goes out, and then I could hear from like almost every news outlet in the viewing area, so then that kind of takes up a lot of my time and energy to respond. One difficulty is social media and kind of dealing with people on social media, because not everyone is happy with what the city does or agrees with what we're doing. So sometimes there is a lot of negativity that I have to face from the media or people on social media or residents contacting the city who are angry about something that we're doing. So I just do my best to explain the city's point of view with things, try to give as much information as I can, not take it personally, and then just kind of move on.
Okay. What do you find the most satisfying with your job? Is there anything in particular that gets you more excited, happy to do this on a day-to-day?
Yeah, I really enjoy that I have information about a particular project or an initiative, and then I get to share it with the community. So it does give me some satisfaction that I'm the messenger in this, and I have information that I get to share with people, and I'm kind of the first to know about it. I do think that is cool. Another thing that I like is I just kind of enjoy being a part of the improvements that are going on in the city. I can look around the city and I can see the different projects that we do and know that I've had a part of that to some degree. So I like being able to effectuate change in the community and being a part of the positive things that we do.
So really quick, I am noticing quite a few little awards on your shelf. Do you mind walking me through some of them?
Sure. Let's see, my Academy Award. No, just kidding. So this is from high school. It's my 3 sport a year for 4-year award, and I was only one of like 3 people in my senior class to get it. So I'm very proud of it because it taught me a lot of stick-with-itness and dedication and not quitting. So I like to have it in my office to remind me of that, because this is one of my most prized possessions, because me and my first cousin, we grew up together, so we were always in the same grade. We vowed that we were going to get this plaque, and I did 4 years of track, which I hated track, just to get this award. So I did cross country, which I liked. I loved cross country. Swimming I tolerated, and then track I loathed, but I wanted this award.
I was going to say, track feels like something that you've kept up with almost because of our conversations in the past, with the running and the yoga.
Yep, and then this is the Leadership Jackson Alumni Award. So I got this last year, and Leadership Jackson is like a leadership training academy put on by the Jackson County Chamber of Commerce, and every year they recognize an alumni who is like making an impact in the community. So I received that last year. That's just like set dressing, really. It's just from a ribbon cutting when I wasn't here. I just thought it looked cool. I wanted to fill up some space. And then up here, this is for my volunteer efforts in the community from a nonprofit I started called People for the Parks and Trails. So it's just a nonprofit that supports city parks and trails through volunteer projects and fundraising. So I got that award last year from the City Human Relations Commission, and it's the Harold White Award for Outstanding Volunteer Service.
One moment, I'm like constantly doing little bits of shorthand. So, if you could go back and change anything about getting this position, is there anything that you would have changed about how you went into this position? Just anything in general?
I think I would have advocated more for getting more assistance or creating like more of a communications department for the city. And I think that's something that I definitely want to work on more immediately. But I think we could do more if we had more people to do communications. So maybe me plus like another employee doing communications. Just because I would say a main frustration with what I do is like not really having a lot of assistance. So I think going into it, advocating for more assistance, I think would have been beneficial. But I'm still in this job now, and I can still continue to do that. I also would have, when I got this job, I really did a lot. So there wasn't, like I had a job description, but when I got here, they just kind of sat me down at my desk and didn't necessarily tell me what to do. It was more of me like crafting what role I wanted to have, which is a good thing, but it also meant that I was doing a lot of extra things that weren't asked of me. So, if I could do it over again, I'm happy I did those things because it showed people what I could do and what I was capable of, and it helped kind of build up our communications with the city. But I probably would have done less and focused more on like the hard priorities rather than the extra things. But a lot of that is just because I didn't really have a solid guidance as to what I should have been doing. So I probably should have dialed back some of the extra things I was doing because I later figured out that those things were kind of like a little bit too much.
Define too much in this case.
We're just occupying my time. I was kind of like filling my entire day with a lot of extra things, and I probably could have been putting that energy more towards like what the solid priorities were, what kind of needed my immediate attention. So 7 years later, I feel like I figured that out. Like what are the main priorities, and then what are the things I can do that are extra.
Okay. So I've got one last question highlighted here.
Sure.
And that is, what kinds of experience, paid or unpaid, would you encourage for anybody that's gunning for a position similar to yours?
Mm-hmm. I do think it's important to get some kind of hands-on communication experience. And that could be anything from, one thing I forgot to mention is in my job description or what I do. Like I do a lot of graphic design, I design a lot of reports, I do a lot of like infographics, I do video and photography for the city as well. I sometimes go out and speak at events representing the city. So I guess like as far as the necessary background goes, just kind of getting a good well-rounded education in journalism, or not journalism, but communications, whether that's like film, TV, or journalism, or public relations, social media, graphic design. Just kind of get, I think some kind of education would be good, and then kind of put that into action, whether it's like an internship or just kind of like an entry-level job in communications. That'll be a good base. But I guess like if someone was just casually interested in like learning more about what a public information officer does, then maybe reach out to someone in your community, talk to them, seek advice as to what you could be doing. And it's also just kind of like paying attention to like what local government does. A lot of people pay attention to national politics, what's going on, and then kind of the state, but people really don't pay attention to what's happening in their own backyard, in their own city, in their own community. And a lot of that is really important because it affects your day-to-day life. So, if you're interested in like that kind of stuff, then really see the output of your community, like what kind of newsletters are going out, what are they doing on social media, what's on their website. Really try to brush up on the information that's coming out. Not all cities have a public information officer, although I would say it's a growing field because of changes in the media industry. It used to be that a lot of towns had a newspaper, and the newspaper would cover a lot of things that the city was doing and report that to residents. But because we don't have as much traditional media, then it's up to cities and communities to help fill those gaps by putting out their own information about what they're doing. So I would say this is kind of a growing field, and it's a field that I've enjoyed.
Wonderful. I'm gonna check this over just really quick to make sure that we've kind of hit everything. Got your full name, your job title and description, your background. We touched on your education a little bit, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I went into that. So I have a Bachelor of Arts from Wayne State University.
Okay. I was gonna say, I swore I had something written down. Typical day. They want a salary range included somewhere in my presentation.
Okay.
Should I look that up, or can I ask you?
Well, I can ask you. Well, a typical day is I generally work Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. And there is some flexibility because there might be an event on a weekend that I need to attend, although that's rare. But the main thing is like we have city council and board commission meetings at night that I sometimes have to attend. But thankfully, council meetings are live streamed, so I can usually just watch from home. So typical day, yeah, just kind of being in the office. So working on the 14th floor of City Hall in the city manager's office. But I do go out on occasion, like today. This morning I went out to a construction project and took photos of what was going on there. So I'm mostly an indoor cat at City Hall, but I do like to go out on occasion to take photos, attend events, go to meetings, that kind of thing. Salary range, I started at $50,000 a year, and now I'm at $78,000. So I have found working for
You said 78? Sorry.
yeah. I found that like working for local government has been a really good career because you have a steady job, you can have some good work-life balance, and you get regular pay increases. So my pay has definitely gone up over the past 7 years.
All right.
In like a steady kind of increase.
All right, and there's one last thing that's here, and it's just the organizational culture.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how would you describe the organizational culture just around here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely think that with our city manager, we've worked on more teamwork because at City Hall, we're like a tall, skinny skyscraper and like each floor is a different department. So sometimes I can go weeks without seeing some of my coworkers because we're all on different floors and we just kind of miss each other. We don't see each other very much. And then not only is there's people in City Hall, but there's people at the fire department, there's people at the police department, there's people who work at the recreation centers, there's people who work at the water treatment plant, there's people who work at the wastewater treatment plant. So we're really kind of scattered throughout of like 250 employees. So I would say since we've had our city manager since 2020, that's when he was hired, there's been a lot more teamwork and a lot more employee togetherness. And that's really important because we're here to provide city services for our residents. So the more we have it together, the more that we work together better, the better the community is going to be. Because that's really what it's about, you know. It's not like we're, you know, the product that we're producing here is city services and improving the community. So that's what we're about here. I always like to say, keep the swing swinging and the toilets flushing and the potholes mostly filled. So we're here to maintain the community and improve it.
Okay, I've got communication and a constant strive for improvement. I'm sure there was at least one more in there that my brain just is not filling in at this moment. It's been a little bit of a, it's one of those days, you know?
Oh, sure.
But other than that, I do believe that I've got everything, and
Cool.
I can always text or email or something.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any pictures that you would prefer for my presentation?
Oh, so you're giving a presentation?
I have to, yes.
Oh, okay.
I have to give a verbal report and a written report.
Mm-hmm. Sure, we can go about it a couple ways. Like, if you want to make your presentation and then tell me what kind of images would be good, that'd be fine. Or what I can do is, like, I have some screenshots of like me on the news, or like photos of City Hall. So if you want to give me your email, then I can send them to you in a Dropbox because they're kind of like high quality photos. So I wouldn't be able to like send them over
text.
email or text. But if you want to write down your email,
I can do
then
that.
I can Dropbox them to you.
I would greatly appreciate that.
Okay.
I was gonna say, because there's no shortage of images of you on the internet,
Oh, right.
but I would prefer to get images that you actually like.
Oh, right. So you can just write down your email, and then when do you need them by?
I don't need to have the presentation done for another couple of weeks.
Okay.
But I can always text you when I get back to work.
Right. You're so on brand. Even your pencil matches your outfit.
It's the funniest thing, actually, because I was in a rush this morning, so I did not have a writing utensil. So this was actually given to me by a girl in my class.
Oh, nice. I like those shoes. Those are cool.
They are some of my favorites.
I'm trying to find some good loafers.
I got these at Men's Warehouse.
Oh, nice. Drake,
So-
OPHIDIA@gmail.
Yes. All right, cool. And that's my personal email.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not going to get clogged with school things and this, that, or the other.
Oh, sure. Yeah, so I'll